passability of the unimproved section line leading to the residence. Landowner will be responsible for expenses of future improvement of the section line and subject to approval of the county. They did say that rural water had turned them down, so they were gonna have a well, and they had talked to Ken, and the builder was talking to Custer Health.
They do have a well there now, but it's shallow, if I recall, and they're gonna put another well in. And Mr. Chairman, for discussion, I move to accept 22-02-01 Tanner Dolmick conditional use.
Okay, motion by Marv, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Gene. Any discussion?
Well, as Cindy has said, they've met all, this went through P and Z already.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to let the board know, this, I think it's 2 miles or so north of Gold Valley, and it's basically a pasture, so everything will be brand new that's being put in there, as much as I gathered, so, but that's where it's located.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Marv?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Wayne?
How would I?
Liza?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye, that motion passes.
Is Todd here today?
What about the, what's this here?
Yeah,
Vacant lots per state.
Yeah, Todd was the one who wanted this on the agenda, that's why I was asking if Todd's here.
Oh,
Oh,
No.
Do you need a motion to table?
I just give her a second.
She's
Well,
suggesting-
actually, we,
checking to see if he.
actually, we need Todd for both of the,
Yep.
my next things.
Mhm. No. Yeah, the Zinker one, I've sent him some information, and in my opinion, this cannot be done briefly and on the phone. This needs to be shown to everybody.
Right.
Do-
Understandable.
Yeah,
What's their name here? Mr. Zink, is this Mr. Zinker? Okay, may I address?
yes, go ahead,
Okay.
Marv.
Mr. Zinker, this question that you had regarding the violation of setback requirements, to me, we need our state's attorney. I did send him some information, I think Cindy did also, and she's had a couple of discussions with it. This came before the planning and zoning asked that it be discussed before the board with the state's attorney. And there are some questions that are still unanswered with our state's attorney. So I'm going to apologize for the commission, but our state's attorney has not been able to make it today. So I'm going to make a motion to table this till our next meeting. That's my opinion. Now, there's 4 other commissioners here, so just want to let you know that I'm on the planning and zoning, and that's why I brought it up, because that's where it first appeared to us. Now, do we need a motion to table?
We would need a motion to table so that we can put it on the agenda for the next
Table both
meeting.
of these things, vacant lots per state, and then also this, right?
Okay, thank you, Gene. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I make a motion to postpone 2 items on our agenda, vacant lots per state and Zinker formal complaint, until our next meeting on March 16th.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Marv, seconded by Gene. It'll be put on the same time as the planning and zoning stuff.
It will, I was just thinking too, maybe we need to make sure, confirm that date and time with Todd.
Correct?
Correct.
Because it doesn't pay for you guys to drive all the way back up here for the state
Yeah.
attorney not to show up, so. Cindy has your contact information? Okay, when we confirm that, Todd, I'll make it to the next meeting, she'll confirm with you, but plan it for the 16th at 9:30.
we're sorry.
And as I
But-
say, and again, we really want to apologize for you guys coming over here today. We thought it was going to be addressed today. So I apologize.
Well, appreciate you accepting it, but again,
Yeah.
I agree with Liza and Jean that we regret.
Yeah, we need to have our legal
Okay?
person here.
We're really just looking for what you're able to do.
Correct.
And if he needs to be here, that's fine, I'll come back.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you very much for
Appreciate that.
understanding.
Yeah. Okay, the motion by Marv to table, seconded by Jean,
Postpone.
or postpone until the next meeting. Any discussion? Okay, Marv,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Wayne,
Aye.
Liza?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes. Anything else, Cindy?
No. Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Cindy.
All that preparation I did, Cindy.
Wow. And they drive even. Yeah.
It happens,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
I guess we'll have to talk with Todd, and if something changes, and we have to have a special,
You're gonna make your
so that
time.
he's here.
Mhm.
We can always advertise that.
Yep.
All right, other business, clerk of courts funding agreement?
Yes. We got some options, but, currently what we do is we enter into a funding agreement to receive reimbursement for our, clerk of court. And I would, make a recommendation that we continue with that contract. We have to renew it every 2 years, I think.
Did we discuss that at the last meeting, or did we just,
We did not,
it was,
We tabled it at the
we tabled it? Okay.
January 18th meeting.
yeah,
Okay.
in the January meeting, because I said I was gonna do some research. And what I've came up with is, that my recommendation is to continue with the contracting of,
Receive reimbursement.
yes.
Okay,
Oof, I don't even know how to word that. I'm blowing it all apart.
but that's your motion?
Sure,
And the contract's with the state, correct?
correct.
Okay,
Everybody's at
Continue with the contract with the state to receive reimbursement for providing clerk services.
Correct, yes.
all right, okay.
Thank
You
you,
had that
Shannon.
worded rather well.
Thank
Is there-
you.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Liza. Any discussion? Any discussion? We all know what we're voting on?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Gene.
You bet,
That
my
was-
eloquent wording there.
Yeah.
All right, Jean. Jean, how do you vote?
Aye.
Liza?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Marv?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
That's all right. We talked to Wanda Wanda called us, so we. Thank you, Wanda. Yes.
All right.
back to
Yeah.
work.
All right, we got a ballot measure?
Okay, this is the ballot measure I presented to the board at the last official meeting. In conversation with the Association of Counties and Aaron Burst and Linda, they said that approval, like just a board motion is enough. We don't need a resolution or anything, the public hearing, just need the board to
Oh, okay.
pass the verbiage and.
Oh,
I understand.
oh.
It's for discussion. Okay,
Marv, you got something on this?
yes, I do. Personally, I would like the wording changed on what was suggested. When I read that as a taxpayer, it's very, and to myself, it's very ambiguous. It really doesn't tell me a lot, unless you go and read those ordinances and understand what's going on. What we're trying to do is, we're going to lose one of our county taxes. And we're going, at the end of 2024. And that's for 15 mills. We want to cover that, we want to increase the taxes here. That's why I handed out a suggestion on I'm sorry, Shannon, I apologize. This, to me, now, it doesn't have to be this way, but I'd like to be a little bit more transparent and have disclosure for the taxpayers on what we're trying to do.
I think that extra line, I mean, the reason mine is so short and sweet is because you wanna keep it that way, cause people don't understand if it gets wordy, or they don't read it. They don't read a full ballot measure when it gets wordy. And so I do like the 10 mils is to replace the loss of the 15 mils. But I don't think that we should ask for an additional 10 mils, because that was kind of what they had said at the Association of Counties. Instead of using the word additional, we need to find a different word, because people are gonna feel like we're taxing them more.
Okay, just take,
When actually it's to replace.
It's, yeah, so.
Right.
just cross off the word additional for the time being.
And we're talking about
It
in
still
the yes
reads
and no
good.
categories that you wrote, Marvin?
Pardon me?
And you're saying to cross it out in the yes and the no thing?
Up way in the very first
Or on the
line.
very top? Okay.
And then down below,
10 mils.
and then down below where it says and additional, where it says no, cross that off.
Okay, hold on, 10 mils for county
So-
road bridge.
Yeah.
Approve the authority to levy up to 10 mills on state levy 1204 to replace the discontinued state levy 1212? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
I would, okay.
Let's start from the top.
Okay.
This is how I think it should be. The governing body of Mercer County is requesting the authority to levy 10 mills for county road and bridge per North Dakota's, I don't even know if we need to put that chapter in there. The 10 mills is to replace the loss of the 15 mills allocated to farm to market roads per Senate Bill 2144, if you're 100% sure that it's 2144.
Yes, it's on here.
Okay.
I have a copy of that.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, because if we're
Yeah,
gonna.
I
approve
want
this, we
everybody
wanna
to
make
see
sure
it.
It's
Yeah.
right. So then we just say, yes, yes means
There's
you approve the
1212.
measure summarized above and no
That's
means
the one
you
going
reject
away.
it.
And there's Senate Bill 2144, and show that to Shannon so she can.
You just don't want it super wordy, because people don't understand.
I understand, and I agree with some of your, so far, I don't have any disagreement with corrections.
Okay, yep. no
Let's do
problem.
the first paragraph, all by itself, first.
So-
Shannon, how would you prefer that that was read? Very first paragraph only.
I prefer that it read exactly how I presented it to you, but then add your second, this one that I presented at the last meeting, leave that one there. And
But-
then add your second paragraph that says the 10 mills is to replace the loss of 15 mills that was allocated to farm to market roads per Senate Bill 2144.
Okay, let me read yours. Okay, you're citing Century Code, I sent this to Todd also. I wish he was here.
I did too, but I got it directly from Aaron first.
Is he,
There's a lot of counties in the same boat as us.
did Aaron Burst give you that Century Code 5715?
Yep. And I can go pull the email if you wanna see it.
No, it's okay.
No, I don't need to
No.
do that.
So you would,
Yeah, this
So-
exactly word for word is what I got from the Association of Counties, because they're helping all of us.
All of us.
All of them.
Yep.
Okay, so we leave your first paragraph per the recommendation of NADACO.
And then I think
And then
it's a
put
good
in-
idea to add something about that we are losing
Right,
the
Th-
15
I like-
mills.
Right,
This
I think
increase of
that's-
10 mills to replace the loss of 15 mills.
right.
And you said to farm to market?
Farm
Right, you
to
had
mar-
something else in
market
this.
road.
What was that,
Yeah.
Shanna?
Yeah, the 10 mills is to replace the loss of the 15 mills allocated to farm to market roads
There we go.
per Senate Bill 2144. And then I think your yes and no should just be the same as what I have on my suggested language.
means you approve or you,
Reject.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
Because if we've explained it, we don't want it to explain
don't
again
wanna
in the
ha-
yes
yeah.
or no.
Farm to market roads, we call that aid to secondary roads.
Yeah, but it's,
Will that confuse the taxpayers?
Probably would.
No.
Farm to market
it's
just.
farm to market in our levy limitation schedule, we've always just.
I want that back, that's the only copy I have. Okay,
Here.
all right, so first paragraph is as you originally stated. Then there's a statement of,
The additional 10 mills,
Yep,
you
to
didn't
replace
want
the
it,
loss
you
of
didn't want
15.
addition in there, right?
No, it just says this increase of 10 mills is to replace the loss of 15 mills allocated to farm to market roads per Senate Bill 2144. Right, Shannon?
The increase of 10 mils is to replace the loss of 15 mils
On,
allocated to farm and market land
Right?
per Senate Bill 2144.
And then go back to the original one you gave us, Shanna, for the yes
For
and
the
no,
first paragraph,
right? So first paragraph from yours, just incorporate Marvin's second statement with a couple of little corrections, and then go back to your yes or no, right?
that's how I would see it. If we get a break, I can go type that up.
Minor, but I just noted too, that with the 10 mils, with this increase of 10 mils, the bills only has the one out.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was just gonna say, if
yep,
we break
you're
at
right.
some point, I can go back and take this.
Yeah, there we go.
Clean copy.
Okay,
I just wanted
go ahead.
to throw my 1, 2, 3, fifth in there. Is,
Your nickel?
I do wanna agree with, wording. When you get it too wordy and you start saying, Marvin, when you start saying, you know, Senate Bill 31, 35, 024, North Dakota and Century Code 24, that, when I'm reading that, that just goes, phew. So to keep it as basic as we can, to let the because most taxpayers don't know these bills, they don't know, our account numbers. So to just let the taxpayers know that the state is doing away and combining, so you're not gonna really see an increase, is my understanding.
Actually, you're gonna see a decrease because we
Yeah.
really have higher levying authority today than we do,
And I mean,
that we will continuing after 24. We're gonna actually lose 5 mils.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you're gonna lose more than that. Go, let Gene finish.
right, so that's kinda how, you know, in all our discussion of rewording this and wording it, I would like somehow that it would let the taxpayers know you're not being increased, it's just being moved, channeled to a different, to a different account,
Reallocated.
so to speak. Because if, you know, looking at this right up front, you're going, oh, you're gonna increase this by, holy cow, what, 15 more mills? Well,
So if we just take out this increase, instead of put this 10 mils is to replace the loss of 15 mils?
I'm not disagreeing with that, right, it's,
No, we're actually,
I don't know if that's
Well, you're-
correct, though, right?
we are increasing the mills on this
county level.
particular tax.
On levy 1204, but we're
Yeah.
losing
right, you're losing it on
15 on
another
the
spot.
on the other.
Oh.
I think that sentence reads good.
I
Lines up.
I
So-
understand what you're saying, yeah, because we are actually increasing them in that
The
area, so you
1204.
can't mislead the community by saying we're not increasing it, because we are.
On
Right,
1204.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we're decreasing 1212.
Right, but we're
Yeah.
losing,
5 mils on 12,
Yeah.
12.
Okay,
Right.
so
Or
does Shanna's recommendation fulfill what you are trying to say, Gene?
Mine says continue the additional 10 mils,
We aren't continuing it.
but we are, because we're continuing an additional.
We're continuing the 10 mills, and we want to have the authority to levy that middle 10 mills.
That's
And
why the
what's-
word, that's why the word additional 10 mills, see, right now, we're already levying 10 mills on
Yeah.
1204.
but
We
we're
want-
losing 1204, right?
No,
Right.
no, let's just talk about 1204.
Yes,
Oh,
I,
1204 is the one that we're gonna add the 10 mils
Right, so
to,
we
correct?
are asking for an additional 10 mills on that.
on that one, but we're going to be taking away,
The farm to market levy.
We're losing,
That's
Right.
That's why the second sentence clarifies that. This increase of 10 mills is to replace the loss
of
of
15.
15 mills.
Yep,
okay,
yep.
okay.
It
I agree with
clarifies
that
that.
one.
So I guess I'm gonna go back to, well, we have a recommendation from the DACO and I can understand that, so. The second sentence adds, you don't need.
Some more clarification,
Yep.
yep.
One thing I want the commission to be aware of, Shannon started on this, we're levying 9.96 on a possible 15, something like that, right now. But Neil, we're gonna lose 15 mills. And we're gonna ask for 10. When we ask for 10, we're only gonna get 8.
What?
Let me clarify that. On the second 10 mills, 20% has to go to the cities. That's the way the code reads. And I have
On
a,
the second set, but then after you get the levy authority to approve.
Then you can do an
the
additional
middle
10.
Then you can do the top 10.
but
Yeah.
we're not asking for the 30, the extra 10.
No, we're not asking, because we don't have to ask for it.
I know, so what I'm telling you is that we're asking for 10, but we're gonna have to give 2 to the cities, so we're actually only gonna get 8.
It
Right.
doesn't equivalent,
Right.
the calculation, I don't believe equivalates the way you're
Well, if you take,
imagining.
if you take 20% of 10, that's 1/5, that's 2.
But it's only, it's not the county taxes, it's just the city taxes.
Okay, but in either, in any
So
case,
it's not actually two,
in any case, we need to transition to this.
yes.
We
Okay.
do.
Right. Or we're gonna just completely lose
Okay.
everything.
Right.
In
Yeah.
2
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So,
Now, another thing is, I want this to be effective 1/1 of 25,
Doesn't work.
because the other one doesn't go
it
away.
goes according to century code, doesn't it?
It doesn't go that way. Once it's approved by the voters, it's in effect.
Well, it can be, let me finish, Shanna. We don't need this until 1/1 of 25. Because the other one doesn't go away till 12/31/24.
But we can make that decision at that time if we need to.
During budget time, right?
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Correct.
That's something we can decide on during budget time, if we need it.
So we need to
Correct.
vote in place,
Right.
but we don't have to act on it
We actually
until.
have the 24 election cycle to get this in place, but
But if they voted,
recommended to us, if they get voted down, we have another
Nope.
chance to.
Right.
correct
To
My
explain.
understanding is we're asking the voters to authorize us to allow the increase. Not, it's not gonna be an automatic increase.
Right, we're not
We
gonna
need-
just say, oh, now we
Correct.
get extra mills for you guys.
Correct.
That's not how it's gonna go.
So the
Okay.
county commission has no intention of changing this until we need to per century code.
Right.
So we're gonna leave it, we're just asking, we
Okay.
need the taxpayers' permission to add these mills.
So if it's
Correct.
approved in 2024, when we do our budget, that's when we went and act.
If it's approved.
If it's
during
approved.
the 2022, June election, you technically have every right to use the 10 mills.
We
for the
could.
23
Right.
Budget season, but I don't foresee you doing that if you still have your farmer market.
That's what I'm,
Right.
that's what I'm
Yep.
trying to say also,
It's
right?
completely at the board's discretion of how you allocate and which fund you allocate those
Okay.
mills to.
Right, like
or,
you said,
know,
it's to
which
be
levy.
addressed at budget time.
Yes.
As to if it's absolutely needed, or if there's something else
Because
that we
right
can
now,
do.
we have 15 farm to market mills and 18 unorganized, but we never levy that high.
So if this is approved in June, then it doesn't go to the November, it's
Nope.
just the one and
Yeah.
done on
It
this
can go
one?
on either the primary or the general, so we technically forward stabs at it.
Okay. All right, does anybody need, everything written out before we take action on this? Or do we understand what we're looking at?
You want me to retype it and vote on it at the next meeting?
That's okay with me.
It doesn't matter.
I
to
agree
me.
with that.
Yeah,
Cause we just have to have it in by
Then
April,
I
right?
can email it out,
Yeah.
April 11th, 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I'll email
Okay.
it out to you guys and.
I would appreciate that, Shanna. Yep.
Good. Thank you.
Get it right.
Okay, so we'll postpone the ballot measure until the next meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Did you get all that, Dan?
He's waiting for the email.
I don't want a 500-word paragraph.
You didn't fall asleep, I hope.
That'd be really funny if you would put that on paper while you're sketching and then arrows and stuff.
Right, here you go.
Clear as mud.
Okay,
All right. Landfill
where are
dumping?
we on that one, Ms. Chairman?
We are gonna postpone that to the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, landfill dumping?
Anybody aware of this? Can you find it by?
Go ahead.
So Candy stopped in and she had me make you copies of, in November, you recall, we made this, if the wind was blowing in excess of 40+ miles an hour, they would be dumping. She would like a new guideline from the previous guideline saying that the 40 mile an hour, the rule for 40 miles per hour would change to wind advisory and discretion of landfill staff for future windy days. Apparently she had somebody send her a snap or a text message that it was only 37 miles per hour and she
My only question and concern was, for instance, at the city of Hazen and the city of Beulah, they do dump, trash out there. And if they aren't allowed to come out there, then we have trash cans sitting around on our streets in our towns for an extra day getting blown around. Do they, pick up more than a truckload per day when they're picking up garbage? Because if they pick it up, my understanding it was that they would pick up the garbage, but they wouldn't be able to dump it until the next day, which isn't a problem, but if they have more than a truckload, then we have garbage cans sitting around in town also.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess
you
I
know,
can't-
I understand Candy's concern.
I don't know if the,
I guess I can't speak for Hazen, but I know Beulah has a transfer station, so if they weren't allowed to take it up there, they could put it in a roll-off cart in the transfer station, but, and Beulah picks up garbage 5 days a week. But Hazen, I don't know.
and they don't get more than a load a day, do they?
Well, it all depends on,
Probably where.
I mean, if it's Christmas time, yeah, you're
well,
probably
yeah,
gonna
I mean,
get,
there's,
you know, there's different,
Right.
but
you know,
I think
I can see, I mean, I wanna agree with, with Candy on her, because I drive by that almost daily, and, yeah, there's garbage flies around.
What's the difference between 40 miles per hour and wind advisory?
I think what she's looking for is a little latitude there, so if it's like 37 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and someone calls her up and says, well, it's only 37, and she, wow,
Yeah, I would say, I
okay.
think that's the biggest thing, Candy, when I spoke with Candy just a little while ago, that's what her concern was, is that she did get a message or a text from somebody saying, well, it's only 37.8 or something like that, which, come on, people, you
Right.
know? Let's think about common sense here, it's more about what Candy's able to do up there. If we have winds blowing all the debris all over the place, nobody wants that either.
And like she said too, it also depends on the wind direction.
Right, yep,
So,
there's some days where it would work okay for Candy, and some days where it
Nightmare.
won't if it's
Yep.
even under 40, it's just the way that it flows through that area. And I think it's important for us to support Candy.
yeah. I guess if it was me and I was trying to get rid of garbage, those would be the last days I would try to do it, but.
You'd be surprised what goes up there.
I know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess if we changed it to wind advisory with the discretion up to the landfill staff.
I guess we could, approve this as is, and if we get issues from our county residents, we can always change it again. So, I guess I'd be in support of this, what would we call it? Memorandum, or?
The reason I asked the question about wind advisory, do we get wind advisory when it's 25 miles per hour?
I don't think so.
It's somewhere in that 25 to 30, I think, is usually
Yeah,
when you get
it's
a wind
lower than
advisory.
the 40.
Well, as I said,
Has
we can,
discretion to-
we can police this also. I mean, if Candy is, I don't believe she will be telling people they can't bring trash out when it's 20 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour. And if that were the case, we meet twice a month, we can change it rather quickly.
She accommodates, she goes in on time off to accommodate.
I agree with you, Gene.
You know, so-
I agree with you completely.
And the worst part about the garbage is naturally is those plastic bags, they're just like an umbrella. And a little breeze catches them and away they go, but
Just give it a latitude, right?
normal garbage don't, you know,
Yeah.
don't really bother, it's those bags that just wanna take off on you.
This
And you
says-
can dump the dirt on there pretty quick, you know, but everything's gotta be lined up with everything, or otherwise you have an issue, and there goes bags and bags, and you go, oh, gosh.
So
Neighbors won't-
how do we word,
So do
Just
we
see,
consider this an
everybody
internal
is
policy, or?
Aware it says, a wind advisory is generally issued by the National Weather Service, the United States, when there's sustained, winds of 31 to 39 miles per hour.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
I would like to agree with Gene that we give Candy Strand the latitude to manage, and if we have a question, we can fix it, but the question is, how do we word it? Did we add this, originally, did we put that in
It was in the paper.
Original memo, that's.
is that, did we put that in our county policy?
We had it in the paper, I know for sure.
So imagine it's policy, so we would have to be,
We don't have a policy.
I didn't say, I don't think we have a policy, actually.
okay?
Yeah.
So anyhow, how do we do this then? How do we word it?
I would say that your motion could read just for second paragraph there.
Well, according to this, at the November 17th, 2021 Mercer County Board Commission meeting, we approved, someone approved, we approved guidelines that over 40 miles an hour, and we just changed that to wind advisory instead of 40 miles per hour.
Wind advisory at the discretion of the landfill staff.
Yeah,
I think we would just need to amend it.
move to amend.
When there is wind advisory, okay,
And take out the 40 plus, just
Correct.
yeah,
Yep,
to the discretion of the landfill staff.
landfill staff, yep.
Are you making this motion?
I can, but I'm gonna, if I do, I'm gonna write it down.
Somebody else
Okay.
wanna make it?
When there is wind advisory,
So you wanna amend the previous memo dated 11/18?
I want it perfectly clear, yes.
Yep. I assume that's what he's
Yeah.
getting at.
No garbage will be dumped at Mercer County Regional Landfill when there is wind advisory and/or at discretion of, should I say Candy Strand, or should we say the landfill?
I would say landfill
landfill
staff, because
landfill
sometimes
sup-
Candy's not available.
Okay. And then effective today. Liza, does that sound okay with you?
Can you read it again? right?
Yes. I'll just read the thing in entirety. At the November 7th, no, that doesn't go out of there.
I started amend previous memo dated 11/18/21. To state,
To state,
That the
and
Mercer
I'm gonna
County-
start right here. No garbage, trucks or loose garbage will be dumped at the Mercer County landfill. That still stays the same. Starts at the word when. When there is wind advisory and/or at the discretion of the landfill staff. So right after the word when, we cross everything off and just write, when there is wind advisory and/or at the discretion of landfill staff.
And then effective today.
Effective, okay? I wanna make darn sure that, Liza, you're the portfolio holder, so.
Yep, and like I said, I spoke with Candy yesterday, so.
yeah, I'm just.
Okay.
You'd also have, basically, I think you should have it also.
Go ahead.
Have a motion that it says at this meeting.
I said amend the previous memo dated 11/18/21.
11/17.
Well, the memo went out November 18th.
Yeah, but at 3/2/22 Mercer County Board of Commission moved to with what you said. Because it wouldn't make sense to leave it
I
like
would-
this because we're changing it today.
So you wanted to put at the March 2nd, 2022 Mercer County Board of
Yes,
Commissioners meeting, the
that's-
board approved an amendment to the
That's-
guidelines that no garbage, trucks, or loose garbage will be dumped at the Mercer County Regional Landfill when the wind advisory is in effect and/or at the discretion of landfill staff.
Yep,
I think this is.
That's what I was
everything-
pointing out.
I think that's everything you read.
because it wouldn't make
No,
sense to
if
say
you
on
don't mind,
November
you can
17th,
make the motion
2021. It'd be at today's meeting.
And I would put
Well, I
board
just have,
move
well, I put
to
to
approve
amend.
amended
Yes, but you
Okay.
still, to amend it, but let's change this to today's. meeting.
guidelines.
No, amend the
Okay.
previous memo dated 11/18/21.
Okay,
Yep. Okay,
Jean,
works good.
I talked to the portfolio holder, and she asked me, well, we
Yep.
wanna be in agreement, right?
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Okay,
that, I'm comfortable with that.
No, it is.
Shannon, will you please read that back and we'll vote on it? Take a picture of it. Phone.
It's just at the March, everything he said except now it's at the March.
And then I put in there an amended, that we amended it.
Yep.
At that March, you guys make everything, okay, 2nd, 2022
Oh, amend.
Yeah.
Gotta get all our
New
wordsmiths in.
guidelines and no garbage trucks or loose garbage will be dumped at the Mercer County Regional Landfill when there is a wind advisory in effect and at the discretion of the landfill staff.
I second that motion.
Effective, well, I don't need to put effective because you already put March.
Yeah.
Right.
Effective immediately.
Sorry, you didn't ask
Yeah.
for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we haven't really technically had a motion yet.
Yep,
so.
we're waiting for it.
I move that we amend the landfill guideline per the motion that was read by our auditor.
And Gene seconds?
I will second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, Marv?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Liza?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
Now, find my original agenda sheet.
We have on the 2022, I'm sorry. Shut.
All right, 2022 annual bid letting?
I'm trying to get you out of here.
Yeah. Marv, did you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you, sir. Chairman. This year's an annual bid letting, and you have a notice to bidders from the landfill is in our information that we received on our desk this morning. So this is just an annual repeat, and I'm gonna make a motion for discussion, and then we'll have our discussion. I move to advertise for 2022 bid letting to be accepted April 6th, 10 a.m.
Let me start over.
Okay,
Should say, I move to
Here it is.
advertise for 2022 bid letting to be
Thank you.
accepted April 6th at 10 a.m. That's correct.
okay. Motion by Marv, is there a second?
Move to advertise for 2022 annual bid letting with acceptance of bids on
10 a.m. on April 6th.
And this is done like yearly?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need a second?
Any-
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Wayne. Any discussion?
Yes, I almost forgot about this. I see our propane bid is in here. We need to put another location down. The Mercer County Regional Airport has put in a new boiler, which is a propane boiler that heats the cold storage hangar building. So I think, I'm pretty sure it's a 1,000-gallon tank. So we need to put that into our
Bid.
bid.
We put the airport's propane in the county bid?
We will now. Because they never,
But we don't do any other
well,
political subdivision, like,
well, how are we gonna get a decent bid on propane other than go through a public, style entity? It's part of Mercer County. And-
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
It's Mercer County Ambulance Service, but
airport.
Airborne.
Airport Authority,
But these are just our specific buildings.
right, if they want to have that, then they need to do a bid letting for their propane. Am I incorrect?
No, I couldn't agree with Marvin on this one, Wayne. I don't think that we contract, because when we do this contract, we get like me as the auditor, I get all of the bills for this.
all right.
So then how would I go back and,
Well,
so then I'd be the middleman with the airport
We
authority?
don't wanna be doing, yeah.
I don't think that might be a Todd question, and it is spelled out, if Mercer County requires any propane tanks, they'll be filled at contract price. It's right in the notice to bidders, but
well, see, yeah, we were running electric before, but,
we don't pay propane for like, or we don't get in for like the historical society or,
The ambulance.
you know, the commission on aging, the ambulance, we don't, none of them get to use our.
Bid letting process, no, they don't. So,
well, I'll take this back to the board, but it's, I don't know what's gonna happen there because.
they can go out for bids for their own propane, and, or they can use the summer fill, whatever they have to do to fulfill their needs.
Okay,
When they had the electric, were they paying their own electric bill?
Yeah, we paid our own electric.
Yeah.
But they said, you know, that we flipped to propane, they said, well, let's get onto the county propane bid, which,
I guess I'm just not familiar with it, we've never done it for any
yeah, I know.
outside county entities, ever.
And it's not that it's, and it is a county entity,
But it's a political
it's
sub.
political subdivision, right?
Mhm.
So, okay.
Okay, any more discussion on the
Clear
notice
as
to
mud.
bid? Any more discussion? Okay, Marvin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Liza?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. That motion passes. Portfolio updates. Jean, you wanna start?
Well, we had the clerk of court, we went across that, so I don't have much to report there. The county sheriff is, I'm gonna try and word this correctly. As far as contracting federal inmates, they are in the process of negotiating the bid on that as we speak. And we will get an update at the next commission meeting as to the result of that. And then he will also provide us some numbers, some general numbers on cost and the expenses, the income, and then our margins. And other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Marv?
A couple of things. I want to make two announcements. One has to do with Vision West. They have a meeting at Killdeer on the 8th of this month. And they're also going to have that's a natural resources public meeting. Here's a flyer, you can pass it around. I have one at home, so that's available if anybody's interested. The other is, they're going to meet, this is just a regular Vision West meeting in Beulah on the 17th. That's all I have is for announcements there. As far as portfolios, this last week, Summit Solutions, sequestering, asked me to look at, they're gonna transport their drilling rig from the present site south of Beulah to south of Hazen. And because of roads and, bridge restrictions, they're gonna come all the way up Highway 49, go around the roundabout, go east little ways, and then go south on the county road to find bridges that'll support it. This move will take 4 to 5 days. It's, I think, if I recall, it's 24 loads. Ken Miller was with us, and we will be able to meet all the load restrictions at that time. Now, I do have a note here that we're going to possibly be doing that later this week. And he's just reminding me, this is from Jay Volk, and that we're going to start that 4 to 5 day move. It's very slow, we don't drive very fast, and just be aware that that's coming up Highway 49, around the roundabout, and then back down to some county roads, and going south of, ending up south of Hazen. He did give me a map, I did print it, but it ended up being umpteen pages, so I didn't be able to glue it together and bring it with me, so.
Are they taking county roads south of, east of Hazen, going south?
No, they're gonna be going east of Beulah and going south, and I have the road numbers and stuff. I can send a map to you. I'll try, I have to send the map to Shanna, and she can send the map to everybody else. So they
Okay.
don't violate the
Yeah.
quorum rules. Is that right? So, and I'll try to remember to do that when I get home, because it could start this week yet.
You know about it south on 19?
I
I'll
don't know.
send you the info to Dan.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm assuming 19?
You know what, I might be able to forward,
That's the only road that goes
That's-
south.
Or 20, well, that's between,
20 goes east and west,
Yeah.
19
Yeah,
goes north
19
and
is
south.
the one.
Maybe,
that
and
goes.
then 20 east.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
okay. I could actually forward this to every single one, no, I better send it to Shanna.
send it to me on
It's gotta be
darn,
way
it
there.
might not take it because
Go
that map
past
is.
Winklers and
got a lot of
Taylor's
data.
and south, across that concrete bridge.
It warned me right away.
Any other
There's no
updates?
other way.
No, I'm done, I'm good, thank you, sir.
Okay, as far as mine, library board met on Monday, kind of business as usual. As far as, fair board, they had a meeting early in February, and then they had another one in the middle of February, but I wasn't able to make that second one, cause it was same time as Beulah's meeting, but they have some of their advertisements already out. They're looking, for sponsorships, through the middle of March. Things are progressing adequately for the fair. And then the Water Resource Board did not meet in February, so we'll meet here next week on the 10th. I believe that's all the updates I have. Liza?
Yeah, we just had our ambulance meeting this
It's
past
30
Monday.
minutes.
They were talking about the EMS conference coming up and that they have about 8 signed up for it, so they're hoping to have enough people to cover for all the people going to the conference. They did do their bowling party that they had for their volunteers, which we thought went really well for the volunteers. They are currently looking for a full-time EMT position, so if anybody's interested, they definitely could use the help. And then the other thing is they did purchase a microphone with some of their grant money so that, if we are on Zoom, then we can actually hear. So I think that was a good purchase on that, and they're still working on verifying their bylaws and a final on the volunteer policy manual that they have. And then for the landfill, Candy had an inspection that just happened recently. She hasn't gotten the results of that yet from the state, so she's hoping that everything comes back good on that. She thought it would, but they had the inspection up there. And just wanted to let everybody know too about the wind ordinance. We had a couple things come in, one from Faces of Coal and one from Nextera about how they would like it to read, and I have those to our state's attorney right now and just waiting to see legally if either of those are plausible. And once I get results of that, then I'll get it to you guys.
Okay. Wayne?
I don't have much to report, so we're good.
Okay. And the other thing, I forgot I had it written down here, but I didn't read it until after I said I was done. But as mentioned earlier, the part-time admin at the extension office has put in there 2 weeks, so more to come later if he decides to post for that or run with just Cindy right now.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I did put this in everybody's packet, the Great Plains CO2 sequestration project open house is next Wednesday, from 6 to 8. They are on the March 16th agenda, Basin Electric is. So, I won't be able to make it, I have church and confirmation, it's a Wednesday night. But I would highly encourage those of you that are available to try to sit in and listen to this.
Yeah, it's the same time as the Beulah City Council meeting, but I would try to hit that afterwards. And since it's an open house, I don't think we'd have to post
No.
whether, yeah.
No, I
'cause
really
it's-
hope
Okay.
that nobody's gonna be out there making any decisions.
No, I'm just saying it's,
I was just gonna say, if 3 of us end up showing up, are we needing to
No.
do, okay.
And I can just throw it out there on the website too, that there may be a forum at this open house.
One of the figures will be there, and if there's 3 or more commissioners, which falls very close.
Got a microphone in their pocket, yeah.
Basically, we don't wanna have 3 commissioners in a corner discussing, but as
Right.
long as we,
Discussing
Just stand in the middle of
Business.
the room.
over a bridge.
Yeah, stand in the middle of the room.
okay.
Yeah.
So that was your wind update as well? That was,
Actually, it was Marvin who wanted the wind energy update, I'm not sure
Oh,
what he.
Okay, we have time?
yep,
Yes.
I think so.
Very brief. We passed this wind energy ordinance to a committee, and Liza's chairing that, if I'm not speaking incorrectly. Our moratorium is up the end of March,
May.
May, I
It's
believe.
May 5th.
and then May.
Yep.
I don't wanna wait till end of May to see where we're at with this ordinance, that we're pushed into a corner that we need to pass it. Planning and zoning did give a recommendation to this board for this wind ordinance. Subsequently, due to more information received, we decided to have another committee look at some more possibilities. So, I want to know if Liza can update me at this time, exactly where we're at, and if not, at the next meeting.
Yep, and that's what I had just said, is that it's to Schwarz right now to review some of the different aspects that NextEra had brought in and that Faces of Coal had brought in, to see if either one of those are legally viable to do for the ordinance. And then our plan is to meet for our very last meeting in April and have a finalized copy to come to all of you guys to go over. Because unfortunately, due to everybody's schedule and COVID, we were not able to meet as often as we had planned before.
So you would have a draft to, or any possible changes, April 20th meeting?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And then we would have time at that meeting and the May 4th meeting
Mhm.
Okay.
to discuss any, or to make any.
And like I said, right now Todd has them already, so that I can already have the legal portion of it taken care of.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of the commission.
Okay, Liza, I would like to have a copy of the draft that was sent to Todd.
Okay, they're two separate drafts. One is from Faces of Coal and one is from,
I would like both,
Next era.
please.
Okay.
Okay. With that, let's take recess till 10:30 and then we'll do the energy savings contract.
My interest is because of all the homework that I did prior to.
yeah, and there's a lot on them, so.
Yep.
Does that have to go through Shanna to go to everybody, or do I just send it to you?
It's up to you.
Just send it to you? Okay.
And it, actually, Marvin can send stuff to you guys, you just can't all get back on a group reply all.
Oh,
Just 'cause
I sent it before and I got reprimanded.
for me.
Yes, I can't even bring you the email, but the answer is Mark violated the quorum. When I copied all 5 commissioners with some information,
But somebody must have replied. Somebody must have replied all at some
well,
point.
see, that's the risk that I can't control. I'm not gonna do
That's
that.
true.
I'm not gonna do that again. I really try to respect that quorum rule.
And it's not, it'd be better safe, sorry, it's not an issue to.
It sounds like,
Not an issue to just send to Shanna.
Right.
but yeah,
And
it's,
that's,
yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
even
it.
if- So it sounds like her first application was denied. I said, well.
A person can all of a sudden find out that he's in the wrong spot, saying the wrong thing, and with no intention. So I want the habit of not getting that close to the line. I might slip, but I try
Yeah,
not to.
exactly. So, yeah. So,
I don't know if my mail went through to her.
question I have for you is, everything.
It was 30 megs, that on a map. I could condense it at home, but I didn't have time to do that.
Okay. Okay. Any contract. That's fair. Yep, okay.
I wonder what the final estimate purchases.
So,
But where exactly?
I'll do a DocuSign. Okay. When it's all, it'll take me a while to put it all together, and then I'll just have Shannon review. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right, thanks.
I can send those drafts to like Shannon. She can send out to us, because I'd like to see it too.
Okay. Okay.
So are the two drafts addressing totally different issues within the ordinance? Like
Well, we're supposed to stick to those couple
Right.
spots, you know?
Not sure
I
if you
think
got
the two
it.
main concerns, one is from NextEra and one
Okay.
Faces.
Since you
NextEra is pretty much just
Okay.
focused on their main issue, and Faces is pretty much just focused on theirs, or is there some crossover?
There's a little bit of crossover on them and stuff like that, but it's really one's focused on
On
one and
part?
one the other. Yep. But a little bit of crossover too.
Yeah, the question, of course, is there's crossover, this is a contradictory of the two. Are we doing something?
Yeah.
Yep. It was a little slick out there.
Yep.
It was a little slick. Came us through center. Well, then it started snowing. Further north there.
looked at it and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get back
I
on
did
Tuesday, you
go,
know?
I took all of Friday off and left Thursday night. And there's still some wind to deal with, but there was no
Give myself a little extra.
precipitation, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and then I knew that there was no way I was gonna make it back Monday,
You can.
when I really needed to make it back Monday, so I'm like, oh,
Right.
never mind.
I came back on Sunday and I left with enough time to beat the snow and then I hit it anyway, but it was, I thought during Sunday it was quite light, so.
Oh,
Any other
so I drove-
questions, concerns?
it was okay,
I could handle it.
yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted to make it work and I did, but yeah, it was kind of hitting the right points between a bunch of messes.
So when Faces of Coal sent me theirs, they sent theirs, and then they also sent Next Era's. Are you okay with me just sending? Okay.
That last meeting.
So you just want me to send it to Shanna and Shanna disseminate it? So the first one that you see will be, Faces of Coal, the second one is Next Era's. Okay?
Thank you.
And they have it redlined out so you can see what changes in what they would want in there, it's all redlined, okay?
Thank you.
Yep. And like I said, I gave those
And I won't,
to Todd.
yeah, I won't send it out to anyone, just let you know.
It is, but for.
Like I said, I gave it to Todd to see if there's any,
Yep, I understand that.
because I didn't wanna, originally I didn't wanna send it to you guys until it went through Todd, because I'm like, what would be the point if it's something that we can't use anyway? But
No, I
it's okay.
understand.
We were told the equipment we would get also. So, we get controls, it's, I mean, there's. Didn't see it, that's strong. Go for it.
Did it come through? Wow. Thank you.
Real spare.
Did it come through okay to yours, Shanna, with the two attachments on it? Okay, okay. Just so everybody knows, those two attachments, the first one is Faces of Coal, the second one is Next Era.
Thank
Okay?
you.
And it's redlined for you to see what they would like to have changed.
Okay, 10:30, we'll reconvene the meeting. So on the agenda, we got the review and consider awarding guaranteed energy savings contract.
I didn't bring my copy, did you? I did.
I want a copy.
That's what he said, he would bring my copy and looks like he needed it.
Does anyone need another sheet from the last meeting? It's the same. You give one to Gene because he wasn't here.
If you have an extra,
I have plenty of extra.
Travis and I will each, I didn't bring one, I apologize.
That's okay.
I forgot to bring mine as well.
It looks kinda like this.
It wasn't,
Look at Wayne, Wayne's our superstar.
it was intended. Look at Gene over there shining.
Thank you.
Well, he handed me one before you guys know. I wasn't here at the last meeting.
Yeah, he wasn't here, so he did, yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
All right.
We aren't forgetful, are we?
So I guess all we did was state that we were possibly gonna go into a contract with Core Facility Solutions.
Right,
And
so this isn't the meeting where we need to decide exactly and what we wanna do and with that, right?
This is it.
This
Yep,
is it?
this is it.
Oh, I don't know if we're ready for that.
If you're prepared, if not, we can
We're not, it doesn't
Hold
have,
it for another meeting.
yeah, because there's no driving emergency at this point, except for time
Time.
to get
Yep,
stuff.
and getting equipment, yep.
Mhm.
So,
Okay,
so the sheet, on the sheets that you have, the green lined items with the X's, those are the items that we've tentatively selected and discussed before at previous meetings, so. Yeah, I'm just here to answer questions for you guys.
So if we selected everything that's in green, that would be that contract price of just over $1 million.
Yep,
And there are possibilities for, possible grants for, say, like the lighting. I've seen
Yes.
that several
Yep.
times. So there could be, basically, we'd have to go into contract so that you could proceed with, ordering materials, scheduling things, and then also looking for grant options.
correct. I never guarantee grants.
No.
We never know if there's gonna be funding available, when it's gonna be available. I know the state energy conservation grant is funded periodically throughout the year. It goes up, it goes down, and it's all based on applications. So what I would do is if you did approve this, start doing some more of the calculations, fill out the grant paperwork, and get that applied for as soon as possible, so.
well, just for starting off discussions, I want to ask you about CFS 3 and 4E. They're tied together, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That temperature control system, that's huge. Tell me what that's going to do for us.
So that's gonna get you off of the pneumatic air controlled system and make everything digital. So right now you have two separate systems in the facility. You have one done in your latest renovation, which is all computerized, tied to Jim's office. And then you have a separate system from the original building. And that uses air pressure at all the thermostats and gets that to change the temperatures up and down. I guess you do have a third system too, I'm sorry, I misspoke, but this area of the building also has a standalone digital control system with no visual access. You can't really see what's going on. It's pre-programmed, it's set, it does what it needs to do, but Jim can't go in and really make changes. So, it's really cumbersome, yeah.
But to say on that part about it, this building here, this system is obsolete. If one of those boards goes out, there's no replacement, there's no support on any of that anymore, because it's going on 26 years old, so.
And so with that different system, that's where you could access it through your phone or something like that, right? If you need to adjust
Yep.
something, or
Right,
it will alert you if something is
right, like
wrong.
if,
Correct.
like in a new building, let's say the boiler goes out, I know immediately Energy Tech calls me right away when they see that it's out, you know, we get alarms and such, so. Which is kinda nice, then actually they can do a lot of things from down there, or I could do it from here, or hopefully by my phone now, you know, that, you can switch to another boiler, or, you know, there's several things we can do remotely that right now is.
And you'd have a diagnostic, so if it was a certain part, you'd
Right.
already know, you could get it on order and.
Yeah,
Exactly. And we would set up, email alarming, so, or sometimes you can do text alarming,
yeah,
but set that up so that the whole building is sending Jim an email if something goes wrong. Boilers go down in the middle of the night, he gets an email or a text. We can even do it down the chain too, so maybe your second,
yeah.
gets that email as well. Then we always put us as kind of third or fourth, and if no one responds to it after a certain amount of time, we start making calls and say, what's going on here, guys? Why is this still down? Are you aware of this? That kind of thing.
Okay, I added those two numbers together to come up to $469,709. What's the warranty?
So,
That we spend this money and
yep,
we're guaranteed that we spent it wisely.
sure. As with everything else, there's a 1-year warranty on the parts. But by going this route, we are tied together for 15 years on energy savings. So we've got to make sure that we get the savings that we promise you. We've got to make sure everything works. As far as, now, let's say we get 3 years down the road and a component goes bad in there. Well, that's not on us, but we're gonna help you through it. We're gonna work with you on that. We're gonna help wherever we can. We do that for all our customers.
Okay, Jim, what's the urgency versus what we just discussed, getting everything to marry up and working digitally, compared to the urgency of the rooftop unit replacement?
The rooftop units are, like I said, they're 26 years old. You talk to any heating outfit, you do research, 10 to 15 years is the average life of a rooftop HVAC unit. 26, we're really pushing it, you know. And like I said, a lot of those parts are, you can't get parts for anything anymore. They're just getting too old.
How much do we have in our present fund? We had some money set aside for replacing this. Do you know that off the top of your head? I don't either. We put 65,000 and there was some in there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much though.
It's not very much, okay. Okay, same question. Which one is the most urgent of those two?
Well, like I said at the last meeting, the temperature control, you gotta separate this building versus that building, because if you start doing part in that building, you gotta do everything. You can't pick and choose just a few things. You know, once you start an area, you gotta do the whole area.
So you're saying that if we repair the rooftop units, that we really need to get these controls married up
You-
right away to make it work
You
functionally?
have to have controls to make it function. It's
Okay.
just the way it is. It's-
That's what
So they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
They
it's-
really do, yeah.
This has its own controls right now, but like I said, they're so old that one little board goes out and we're down, and that's,
And we have no way to replace it, right?
yeah, there's no support for any of that stuff anymore.
So if I add up those two, control items, CFS 3 and 4E, plus the rooftop units, comes up to $617,150.
I'm struggling a little bit because everything in green, I'm getting to add up to $738,000.
I'm not including all the other, I'm just,
Yeah.
right now, I'm just looking at.
Gene and I are looking at the map overall, though,
Yeah.
it's not coming out at all.
Yeah. If we add your items here
In the green,
in the green,
yep.
we get 738,909.
And then you gotta add the items on the right in the blue.
Yep, and then that total is 92,974.71.
Oh, there is a estimating contingency, that did not show up on the, it's very, I can show you where it's at if I might approach.
I'll try to read yours so you can see what that number is.
So our contingency item is sitting right here, it's, for some reason it did not print very well. It's sitting right under there.
Yeah.
I will pull that up for you, I believe it's 36,945.
But I think we're still 146,000 off from the farm.
Let me double check.
And your total for C, it's lined out here. Can you help us out with that number? If you look over on the right-hand side, it says total for C,
What's that?
the numbers
Yeah, I can't really.
crossed off.
Oh, it's just how it's not crossed off, it's just how
I can't
the
see it.
cell.
Do you know what it is?
It's, looks to me like 16,465.38. I can pull it up on a spreadsheet here too.
Yeah, I
If
want
you
that.
give me 1 minute.
to
Yep,
be-
I'll give you the totals. I have no problems giving you the
Yeah,
numbers.
I don't know, maybe.
I absolutely want you to know what you're going for here, so.
And then
I'm
Shannon,
not trying to hide anything.
I understand that, and, we want really good
Well,
clear.
according to this line, you are.
Well, that's the way the printer printed, I'm sorry.
Can't read it.
I am not trying to hide it, I promise you that.
Good.
I can only go by the best quality of print on my printer.
Because, let me see,
I believe I did send them in a PDF at one point in time, electronic.
So Shannon, you added all these green up? What'd you come up with?
738, 909, 01,
738, say it again?
909, 01.
I have 90871, hold on.
$1 off doesn't
Are we
make
looking
it.
at the same sheet?
I maybe put a different
This
number
looks like-
around, hold on.
If you get the glare right, you can almost read that.
The contingency one?
Yeah. Just angle yourself, you can, looks like 36,000 something.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I see. Looks like 36,945,
Yep.
45.
Yep.
Okay, you can pull it up, let's get the looks like gone and say what it is.
Right, exactly. I agree.
That's still 780 and you got 885 on the other part, right, Shannon?
Oh, I didn't get
No, on his sheet,
the- Yeah.
he's got 885 and you come up with 740 plus 36, 776.
738, 709.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 90901, you're right, Shannon.
It did it several times, but you never know. Home calculators are always gonna tricky.
And so you added that with everything,
Yeah, I'm still looking at the pricing.
A plus B plus C. Oh, I see what's going on.
I think I can follow.
Oh,
Well,
there's,
once they throw that contingency in there,
Why is it here?
I'm only showing a difference of $40.
This is it.
Let's not, we're gonna work something out right now.
yep.
Okay. All right, 36,945 and 45 cents on the bottom there. And then that other one.
945 in what sense?
45.
Okay,
And the one that you, couldn't see on total C was 16,465 and 38 cents.
So for a grand total, I come up with 1,003,925.10. You take all your other numbers and add them in, so it's $40 and 1 penny different, but.
Well, we'll straighten that out. Yeah. I was relying on Excel, I guess.
I
and-
know how that goes.
What was the total you had?
1,003,925.10.
We can go with your total. I'll make it work.
I guess it's 6,000 difference, isn't it? You have 1,000,009.
Yeah.
I have 1,900, yep.
Hold on, I might be, just let me recalculate.
But still, for that close, I can make it work.
Repeat that number, Shanna.
1,003,925.10. Yeah, down on the bottom, you have total contract price, $1,009,000.
Yep,
And I show $1,003,000 if you add the 885, the 79, the 28, and the 10.
okay.
You add all those, yeah, I think you're,
There's gotta be something in Excel that's,
What's that red $6,000?
yeah, so I was different, $6,040 in one.
Yeah, what's that measurement and verification
so
for
that,
years?
by state century code, we have to do, guaranteed measurement and verification to make sure that you're meeting the energy savings. We have to charge you for it. What I do is I discounted our normal price of $3,000 a year. I'm gonna charge you upfront for 3 years. By century code, you can opt out after 3 years, and I'll help you write the letter if you're meeting the savings and you wanna get out of the guaranteed savings. I have no problem with that. Then, after the 3 years, if you wanna keep measuring and verification that you're meeting the savings, we can do that at current rates. But I don't like to go into long-term, year-to-year contracts unless it makes sense for you. So I say, let's just charge you for the minimum 3 years up front, get it over with. If you guys are good, if we're making the savings, there's no sense renewing that year after year. So try to do it and get it out of the way.
Okay. Well, let's approach this systematically. Is there any of these green items that the commission doesn't seem that we should do at this time?
Mr. Chairman, I'll answer that question for myself. I would only go if I'm not saying that I will yet. If I was CFS.3, CFS.4E, they go hand in hand, and the rooftop unit CFS.4D, just those.
Okay,
And the reason I'm staying at one is for not committing all of our funds right away. And the other is we have a new way of doing business, and I don't see why I'd want to put all my eggs in one basket right off the top. I want to know where we're at budget-wise
And I think this one.
after we do all this. Where's the money coming from? Well, that's
That
the
we
board.
talked about using ARPA money before,
ARPA funds.
So I'm using ARPA funds, huh?
yep.
as we discussed before.
That's what ARPA funds were for, is for things that have been put off on hold because we didn't have enough money. So our ARPA funds would be reduced, if we do all of it, by, let's just say, $1 million.
Yeah.
I could understand that.
Were you suggesting this one? Must be this one. Oh. Yeah, that one.
3 and 4 E go together. 4 E have to go together. Okay. And rooftop unit right there.
Wasn't the lighting one that we needed to do due to our audit that we had at the jail? Correct?
I believe so.
That's that's why we have it, yep, because the light levels were
Borderline,
at the bare minimum of what you need to have in there. So,
they passed, but,
And that was due to the state.
pardon?
That was due for the state coming
Yeah,
in
from
to
the
do the
state
audit of the
inspection,
jail,
yeah.
right, and the inspection, okay.
Yep, and that's why it's just the LEC only, just the law enforcement area.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments from other commissioners on, which ones to do?
Mr. Chairman, if I may also, the lighting would actually have a good opportunity for qualifying for grants. That's another reason we put those in there, so, just so you know.
So, and that's why I brought up the grant thing, is because most of the time I've seen it for lighting.
Yep, yep,
If we didn't go with that to start with, but you were able to secure a grant,
we could try for it,
we could still try for
We
the
could add
grant,
it
and if we
later.
got it, then
yep.
that would be additional funding, that could be offsetting some
Yeah.
of our other stuff, so.
Yep.
That's my thought process in trying to keep maybe the lighting, not necessarily at upfront, but if we got the grant for it, then that's
Sure.
kind of a trigger point to add that.
Yep. We could do that. We could
So-
try, definitely try.
And the basement mechanical room air handling unit, that,
4C?
CFS 4C,
Yep. That's a refurbishment of the existing equipment.
okay.
Why wouldn't we want to do that? Don't
Pardon?
we need that?
Pardon?
Do we need that done?
Well, there again, everything's old, you know, motors are old, bearings get old.
Right.
Put
And
a
that
new,
would do-
the filters,
Why wouldn't we do it?
right now, there's it's a filter roll system, and those are really hard to get. They're
Yeah.
pretty much obsolete. It takes me at least 6 to 8 months to get a roll when they run out, and they're expensive, so.
And so with the refurbishment, we wouldn't need to do,
No, they're
We'd
gonna,
Take those out, put in your standard pleated air filters.
the square ones like you,
oh, okay.
that's what the new building uses now too, so.
So I guess to the commission, the green items is basically the recommendation from Chris and
Yep.
Jim. We've talked about the ARPA funding. The lighting can easily be a standalone, but as Liza mentioned, it's kind of came up in our audit on the jail. So I guess I'm thinking the best way to do this is somebody make a motion either to do as recommended or with changes, and we can vote on that, and if it's not for the whole thing, and that fails, then we can do piecemealing, so, just to keep it moving.
I'm ready to make a motion. I like all of it, but for what dollar value? What dollar value am I gonna put down there for total contract price?
Sure. I can work on it right now.
If we're gonna award a contract,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be very specific.
That's
And
fine.
if we have to, we can wait till next meeting.
Right, absolutely.
But if we make a decision on what we're gonna do, and if the numbers need to change, then we know what we're gonna be expecting at the next meeting, right?
Right.
So what was your statement, question, Travis?
Basically, I'm saying,
Needs a motion.
I need a motion to move forward, but if the motion's not to go as recommended, and that's the one we approve, we can go forward with that's what we're gonna do, and then we can approve a contract at the next meeting if it's a different
So
amount.
we're just approving, a motion just to approve which items we're gonna go forward with.
Correct.
And not the actual
Contract.
numbers.
And we'll,
Be presented.
Specific number.
okay, and we'll get the numbers clarified at the next meeting.
Yes.
Or I might be able to do it right now.
Well,
So-
let us debate this a little
Yeah,
longer.
absolutely, absolutely. You do your thing first.
Say that again?
I would not make a motion without a concrete number.
Either would I. Gene, or
I agree.
Travis,
Mhm.
if we make a motion that we're gonna do this, the numbers could be $3,000 more next meeting, and we already agreed that we were gonna do it, so we're strapped to those numbers.
Okay.
I wanna get you a number today.
Okay, well, I need a recommendation from the
I
board,
want
which
it
way we
writing,
go.
sir.
You will.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be,
I totally understand where you're coming from.
Well, it doesn't matter what you, I mean, he tells us a verbal amount, it wasn't our motion, that's.
It's in the minutes.
Right,
Yep.
that's what we're looking into.
It's binding.
Yeah.
so. You see what I'm saying, Travis?
I know what you're saying.
So do we have the Jeopardy tunes going right now?
Yeah.
So it's $1,009,925.10 is what I come up with if I add all your numbers together.
1 million, you said 1,000,000,
$9,925.10.
so we're $40 off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
I withdraw these numbers.
okay.
So if that's the number you want in there, then.
Shannon, didn't you say it was a 1,000,003?
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
know that the
Three.
red
Oh.
6,000 had to be included.
That's in there
I thought
too.
that was like
Okay.
Oh,
So red means
So it's
take
the
away.
$40.
Yeah, I know.
Accounting.
Right.
I just wanted to highlight it.
1,009,900.
925.10 cents.
10 cents.
Yep.
not
You're
11.
not gonna reduce that any?
No. What do you want it to be?
Don't ask me that.
$5.
Thank you. We have,
Well, we do have a $10,000 project contingency, that's your contingency. It's
Right.
built into this project. If you do not use it, it gets returned back to you at the end of the project.
Right.
So, just one thing to note on that.
Or it's basically never spent.
If you don't spend it, it's,
Yeah.
It's
It's not
yours.
really returned, it's just not spent.
well, yeah, I think it's billed, but then
Okay,
we actually write a check back.
gotcha.
so,
Yep.
you probably answered that just now, but do you have anything built in here for discovery? Now, anytime you're doing changes, there's
Mm-hmm.
change orders. That's a definition of profit for a contractor.
Absolutely. Well, we don't look at it that way.
Okay, I want you to
So-
help me out with,
Yep.
what are you gonna do for discovery?
So if you see that, that blue line that was hard to read from my printer,
Yep.
that covers us with those change order items. But we feel that we've discovered pretty much everything that we need to on here. But if there's something that comes up, we take it. If we use up that amount, it comes out of our pocket. So we don't do change orders to the original scope of work. So as long as we don't change the scope, we don't issue another change order.
So,
But if you say, I wanna do the lights in here, well, that's a scope change,
correct.
you know?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so if, let's just say you're doing this job, everything goes 100% the way we planned. Every once in a while, a guy gets lucky, so.
Every once in a while.
So we don't use all the contingency funds, right?
That one is our contingency, that 5%.
No.
But the 10,000 over on the side, is that the one you're talking about?
Nope, the 36,945.
The 36, that one's ours. So inevitably, we
So that's
we
cur-
throw in something extra, or we find a way to use it, so. For ourselves,
Okay,
for
so
the
then,
project.
I
Can
think,
you, when you do this, would you be willing to give us an itemized list of how you spent that 36,945?
We could do that.
I guess we don't get it back regardless, so it doesn't make
You
any
don't,
difference.
but,
Okay.
I mean, we could work something out so you know what it's used for. I have no problems with that. I like to be transparent. So, if
I've
that's
been.
what you want, that's what we'll do.
Okay, well, that's up to the board. I'm not sure that it's necessary. I do know that you can do your best estimate, absolutely positive, dot every I and cross every T,
Yep,
and the job always comes in higher.
there's always something.
Okay,
We've already had changes already.
And you're-
I
you're-
haven't changed your price.
and
so
you're quite certain that that 36,945 is gonna cover
That's
those,
gonna cover it.
those what
Yep.
ifs?
Yep. So we had some changes on the VAVs. Some costs came in higher than what I originally showed you. I did not change the price to this. I kept everything the same and plan to use that contingency money to help cover that. So I've already got some of that contingency spent, should we do the project, just for some changes with pricing on the VAV boxes.
So basically,
So-
what you're telling me is that we're gonna get this as a package, it's gonna be working, and there will not be
Absolutely.
any change order extra costs, unless there's a
Exactly.
scope change.
Unless there's a scope change. Yep. And we're mandated by Century Code for that, so,
Okay,
with this type of project.
you've done contracts too, so.
No, it'd be brought to the
What's
board.
So,
Yeah.
if there's a scope change, it'll be brought to the
It's-
board.
it sounds good, and I think we should be able to bind them to it.
And so it'll never ever go over this dollar amount that you
The-
are authorizing unless it comes back to this board and you authorize more.
Mhm.
It just can't.
Absolutely.
That's how the contract works.
Mhm.
The 109,925.10. That's
Yep.
what it would
Yep.
cost us
Correct.
in
Yep.
the end. And even if the cost goes over, say your contingency is 36, well, let's just say 37, and the costs go to 42, we're not gonna,
You don't get a change. It comes out of what we make
Okay.
on the project, so, for this scope of work, if the contingency gets used up, we have to spend an extra 20 grand. That's on us, not on you.
okay.
You see it?
Marvin just pointed out there's another 10 in there also, so it'd be 46.
That other, your customer
That 10 is
contingency.
ours.
Yeah.
That one, you have to sign off on any expenses spent. So we sign it, you sign it. So that one is not for us to use unless you approve it,
And
that
what-
10,000.
But are you gonna?
But that's not, that's only for it's basically for a scope change.
But are,
And it's
oh, okay,
pre-approved in the contract.
okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm just, once again, you're not gonna come and say, well, it went over, if you don't authorize this, we can't finish it.
No, we have to finish
Okay.
it. And we have the references, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're
You gonna make a motion, or?
pretty close here. I think we're beating them up pretty good.
So far, he's
I
still
can take
smiling.
it. I can
Well,
take it.
we're spending a lot of money here. and
You
we
are.
Definitely wanna make sure, it's like Marvin said, I mean, I've dealt with stuff like this too, and in the end, it's, well, we can't finish this unless.
We won't do that to you. You have my word.
I've had that too.
Oh, you're gonna have it in writing too.
I was gonna say what, I didn't have enough courage.
But you're gonna have it in writing, so.
Okay, well,
What is the commission's wish?
I make a motion then that we go ahead with the recommended items here as presented. The CF, I don't know if I have to detail them.
The green
Do I?
highlighted ones?
I'd say the green highlighted.
As presented in the amount of
Use them.
1,925,10.
There you go.
Okay.
We'll do it that way if that
There we
works.
go.
Motion by Jean to proceed with the project as presented for the cost of $1,009,925.10. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Liza. Any discussion?
Yes. I agree with Gene's motion and Liza's second. I would like it to add that the money, expenses to come out of our ARPA funds.
Okay.
Is that agreeable with you, Gene?
Yeah.
Or do we need to have amendments? to the-
No, that
Go
was,
ahead and add your comment under the motion before you all vote.
Yeah. That the funding source is the ARPA funds?
Okay,
I think that was the original understanding anyway.
Right.
We discussed
right.
Okay.
over a month ago.
I have to ask another question for the board. There's two ARPA funds. It was recommended that primarily they be used for road and bridge. And there's a state ARPA fund. And it was recommended that until we get clarifications, we don't use that money. That was recommended by NADACO.
That was House Bill 1505, that is specifically for county road and bridge.
That's a,
We're talking about the ARPA federal funds.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
yeah,
795, 11450 last year.
So say,
that we already have a portion
so
of it
say
already,
federal,
correct?
say federal ARPA funds.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. That'll work.
Just want to clarify.
Understood. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
I'd like to have a motion read back, please.
Okay. Shannon, would you read the motion?
To go ahead with the recommended items as presented in the amount of $1,925.10. Liza second. Schwer added the funding source is the federal ARPA funds.
Okay. Jean?
Aye.
Liza?
aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Marv?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm excited to get started for you. You'll be happy.
You know, this is after the fact. Typically, when we have a contract, we have a start date and expected completion date.
I will work on getting those for you. It will